Ever wonder how to recreate that amazing Chipotle Burrito bowl experience at home? We are making a delicious homemade version that's even better than takeout. It's loaded with homemade Pico De Gallo, creamy guacamole, flavorful beans, and a vibrant corn salsa. You are going to love this recipe, so let's get started. Let's start our marinade. First, we will add chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. That's the key for smoky, rich flavor. Chop one pepper very small, then add it to a bowl with 2 teaspoons of the adobo sauce. It's so spicy, so add more if you like it hot. Next, mince 2 garlic cloves directly into the bowl, along with a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Squeeze in half a lime for a tang, and a teaspoon of honey to add a touch of sweetness and balance. Now add 1 teaspoon each of cumin, oregano, chili powder, salt, and black pepper. Mix everything together, then add the chicken. I'm using about 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. That's what Chipotle uses for their bowls. They are extra juicy and tender, but chicken breast will work too. Give the chicken a good coating of the marinade and then put it in the fridge. You will want it to marinate for at least 2 hours for the best flavor, but the longer the better. Now while the chicken is marinates, let's make a simple Chipotle style guacamole. It's easy and uses just a few fresh ingredients. When choosing avocados for our guacamole, look for avocados that are ripe but still firm to the touch. Avoid avocados that are too soft or mushy. Hass avocados are our go-to for their creamy texture and delicious rich flavor. We will need 3 small or 2 large avocados. Cut them, then remove the pit, scoop the avocados flesh and add it to a bowl. Then use a fork to gently mash them until they are just how you like them, chunky or smooth. Now cut and peel a red onion and finely dice half of it. That sharp, fresh flavor is going to make our guacamole so delicious. For the best texture in your guacamole, try to dice it into small uniform pieces. Then add it to the bowl with the avocados. Next, peel a fresh garlic clove and dice it very finely. Now I know some people prefer their guacamole without garlic, but I truly think it adds a wonderful depth of a flavor. It's a small addition that makes it really good. Next up, we are adding jalapeno for that spicy kick. The amount you use and whether you include the seeds will determine the spiciness. The seeds are where most of the spice lives, so keep that in mind. If you prefer your guacamole mild, just remove the seeds. I'm using half a jalapeno including the seeds and dicing it into small cubes for a good amount of heat. You will also need to chop some cilantro to add freshness to your guacamole. So finely chop about 2 tablespoons of a fresh cilantro and add it to the bowl with the other ingredients. Now season with 1 teaspoon of salt and a little pinch of cayenne pepper for a little extra kick of spice. For a bright, authentic flavor, freshly squeezed lime is essential. Avoid bottled or jarred lime juice as the flavor is different, so add the juice of a fresh lime. Now mix it all together until it's perfectly combined and take a taste and add salt or lime as needed. While many guacamole recipes include tomato, this is how Chipotle makes it, without tomatoes. And that's it, the most delicious, easy guacamole. With this recipe, you will have plenty of guacamole, which is great. But to make sure you can enjoy it later, here's a simple trick to store your leftover and keep it fresh and green, preventing it from oxidizing and turning brown. Place your leftover guacamole in a storage container and pat it down firmly with a spoon, making sure it's completely flat on top. Then squeeze a layer of lime or lemon juice over the top. If you prefer to avoid extra tang, water will work as well. However, lime juice is effective to prevent oxidation and keeping your guacamole fresh. Then place a piece of parchment paper or plastic wrap directly on top, pressing it down to create a tight seal. Then seal the container with a lid and store it in the fridge. It will stay green and fresh for up to a week. Let's move on to the Pico De Gallo. This classic Mexican tomato salsa is another essential part to our burrito bowl, and it comes together so quickly. It's made with simple, fresh ingredients, and it's so easy and authentic, just as you would enjoy it in Mexico. First, we will finely dice half of a red onion and add them to a bowl. Next, for our tomatoes. I'm using a rye bread tomato on the vine, but Roma or plum tomatoes are also a good choices, as they are less juicy than other varieties. This will help keep our Pico De Gallo from getting too watery. Make sure to core the tomatoes and scoop out the seeds. We want to avoid any excess water in our salsa. Then dice the tomato into nice small cubes and add it to the bowl. Now garlic is totally optional here, but I always like to add a clove. It's a really nice touch that adds another layer of flavor, so finely mince one garlic clove and add it to the other ingredients. We have already got some spice going with the guacamole and the chicken, so we will keep the Pico De Gallo a bit milder to balance the heat. We are removing the seeds from half a jalapeno, finely chop it and add it to the bowl. Alright, let's chop about a quarter cup of cilantro. It's a must-have in Mexican food. Not only does it taste great, but it adds a nice touch of color. So again, finely chop it and add it to the other ingredients. Add the juice from half a fresh lime, then season with half a teaspoon of salt and a quarter teaspoon of chili powder. Stir it all together and you have got your Pico De Gallo. Now for the best flavor, let it chill for a bit. This will let all those fresh flavors to really melt together and develop their full depth. Alright, next up we are making a delicious corn salsa. This bright and refreshing salsa is going to be the perfect addition to our burrito bowl. We will start by heating a skillet over medium-high heat, then we will add 2 sweet yellow corns and brush them with a little olive oil. Freshly harvested corn is going to give you the sweetest and most delicious flavor. You can use frozen corn from a bag, but avoid canned corn. It tends to be too soft and mushy, and it doesn't have that same fresh, vibrant flavor and texture. Now just heat the corn on each side for a few minutes until they are nice and brown. That will give them a really nice smoky flavor. After that, remove the corns from the skillet and transfer them to a cutting board. Now, using a sharp knife, slice off a strip of kernels lengthwise. Then rotate the corn and repeat the process until the kernels are removed. Add the corn to a bowl along with about a teaspoon of finely chopped jalapeno for a little kick, 2 tablespoons of a fresh chopped cilantro, and a juice from half a lime. Season with a teaspoon of salt and give it a good stir, and your corn salsa is ready. Moving to the black beans. Let's transform our simple black beans into a flavorful addition to our burrito bowl. Using the same skillet, add a tablespoon of olive oil. Let it heat up for a moment, then add a quarter cup of finely chopped red onion and saute it for about 2 minutes, or until it's softened up nicely. Then add 1 tablespoon of chopped jalapeno and cook it with the onion for another minute, letting those flavors melt together. Add 1 can of black beans and cook them for about 3 minutes until they are heated through. Then add 1 teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of cumin. Also a squeeze of lime juice for depth and a touch of zest. You will start to smell that wonderful aroma. Mix everything together well, then turn off the heat and transfer the beans to a bowl. These aren't just plain black beans. They are perfectly seasoned and cooked, packed with flavor and ready to complete our burrito bowl. Alright, next up we are making cilantro lime rice. Trust me, this is going to be your new favorite for burrito nights. You will love it, and honestly, you can make it with just about any meal. To begin, just wash 1 cup of basmati rice, drain it really well, and add it to a cooking pan over high heat. Then cover the rice with 1.5 cup of boiling water, then add 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and gently mix everything together. Bring the rice to a rolling boil and cook until the liquid is absorbed. Then reduce the heat to low, cover the pot tightly, and let the rice simmer for about 15 minutes. Once the rice is cooked, turn off the heat and let it rest for 5 minutes. Then add a quarter cup of a freshly chopped cilantro and squeeze in the juice from half a lime. And if you want an extra burst of zestiness, add some lime zest too. It will really infuse the rice with that lime flavor. Now use a fork to gently fluff the rice and combine it with the cilantro. To cook the chicken, heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large pan over medium-high heat. Let it get nice and hot, then carefully add the chicken thighs to the pan and let them cook undisturbed for about 5 minutes. You will see they are beautifully seared and golden brown. Now let's flip them over and cook for another 5 minutes on the other side. Look at that rich golden brown color. That's exactly what we want to see. A good sear like that means delicious flavor. Now to make sure our chicken is cooked just right, I'm using a thermometer to check the internal temperature. Once it hits 165 degrees Fahrenheit, we will take it off the pan and let it rest for a few minutes. That's how we keep it tender and juicy. Then we will slice it into strips. Alright, now that everything is ready, let's build our beautiful burrito bowl. We will start with a base of the cilantro lime rice. Then we will add our flavorful black beans, followed by our vibrant fresh salsas. And finally top it off with our tender juicy chicken. Scoop some of the guacamole in the middle and add shredded cheese and you are ready to enjoy. Look at those beautiful colors, it's absolutely delicious. Each bite is an incredible mix of texture and flavors, from the smoky chipotle chicken to the refreshing salsas, all coming together to create a satisfying and perfectly balanced meal. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you did, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe for more delicious recipes. Thanks for watching.